Literature Museum for the time given, for writers who are involved in thinking about books and writing books and making books and getting themselves and the whole of their lives frustrated, because of exactly the idea of being the producers and the writers of the word. So we thank you a lot for that, Mr. Machoba, for this opportunity. Also, thanks go to the writers as well and to the people who have joined us this evening. You're taking your time and be with us here and to celebrate, our writing and our efforts to write our lives, using words and to record, the experiences of our lives. I think going straight to the program of this evening, which is Mr. Machoba has already said, it's to do with the launch, basically the talking on and around two books, one by Mr. Sim Natyobeni, incwadi yakhe ithi Nosigidi, incwadi yemibongo yesiXhosa, imbongo mbaliso yesiXhosa, athe uSinthembile wayishicilela kunyaka mnye mibini edlulileyo. Ngelishwa ebekubonakala ukuba ingathi kungenzeka bangabikho namhlanje nathi ngenxa yengxakangxakana azifumanayo kwi-connection kaZoom. But be that as it may, we will probably begin, today's thing with launching and talking about Kotaz. And if it does come through, manages to come through later on, we will give him that opportunity. We have invited a number of writers to share the moment with us by, reading works, from Kotaz. And I'm not sure, Mr. Machoba, will you be able to share what the writers, the reader with us, share it with us? I don't know if we'll be able to do that, but we ask you to do that later on.
Yes, not a problem.
I'll start quickly. My only role will be to provide some bit of a context to Kotaz, because maybe some of us don't really know the magazine, which has been around for just over 20 years, but basically underground in the townships, coming out and again, reaching out and then going back again to the ground and reaching out once in a while for the sun. But then again, when night comes, it goes down underground. So that has been the story of Kotaz. To cut things short, I'll just read through a bit of a brief introduction. That Kotaz is a bilingual, Xhosa and English writing magazine based in Gqeberha in the Eastern Cape. It was first published in 1998. The magazine publishes stories, poems, drama book reviews, and artwork by writers and artists who experience firsthand the absurdity and cruelty of life in South Africa's Black townships, in the country suburbs, and in the poor rural villages of the country. These writers in turn confront their marginality using eclectic writing styles and tools, including their very own colloquial languages. The magazine encourages writers and artists to write freely about their everyday horrors. Now, it's important to highlight that South Africa has been under great, immense horrors over so many years. That's why we cannot get over our nightmares, So the magazine from the onset was trying to do that, to reach out for those nightmares and those horrors that continue to bedevil the minds of our people, and make them the less important citizens of the world. The magazine provides a platform for these writings of marginal love and protest, pain, fear, and sometimes chaos to be published and read. The current issue of Kotaz continues the tradition of publishing powerful stories and poems in the isiXhosa stories of Mpumelelo Cilibe, ibali lakhe belisithi Emadikazi, Tsararaville, and Sonwabile Mfecane, ibali lakhe belisithi Abantu Bam. Included in the current issue are the riveting poems by writers like Mpumelelo Matwa, Richmond Khungwaye, Wonga Gwele, Mzoli Mavimbela, Nomthandazo Ndinisa. We have invited some of these writers to come and read, from a reader that we prepared. And I want to ask them to come forward, I have noted that Abigail is with us. I've seen that Tabiso is with us this evening, and I'm inviting you to come forward and read from your works published in Kotaz. Thank you.
Enkosi Bramxowa, enkosi kakhulu ngenhlayelelo. I'm sure everyone, who is not familiar with the Kotaz magazine has got a bit of a background. But before we go on to the works that are published in this one, maybe for interest's sake, I can tell us what, when is it issued? I think you've mentioned a bit of that, but can you be clearer on that? And whether it's available as a hard copy only, or both as a hard copy and a soft copy? And if it's selling, how much is it going for? And more interestingly, if there are people in here that are interested in submitting their pieces, how do they go about submitting their pieces in the Kotaz? Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Machoba. Well, we do provide a hard copy. It's published in hard copy. It's difficult to be regular with publications these days because of the high costs in publishing. So roughly, we publish a quarter, an issue a year, if we're lucky, when we're lucky. We have done all in all around about, because we're in volume 6 now, and each volume contains 4 issues. So we'll be having probably around about 24 issues that have been published since the late 90s. It's not it's a huge number. It sort of proves as well the difficulties in publishing these days. The price for Kotaz is roughly 100 Rand, 150 Rands, depending on who buys. If it's and sometimes it's free. It's given freely to non-subscribing schools. So yeah. But more information can be accessed from the magazine itself. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks again, Bramxowa. What I didn't check with you now is the order of reading. I'm assuming that now we will start with the Kotaz. I was hoping that I'm going to get a list of all those that will be reading. But nevertheless, guide me in terms of who is online and which page is the piece. I will start sharing. I will now start sharing the Kotaz. Then you can guide us so that we begin with what is most important to us. Talking, that's not part of our art. We are here to to hear words. Let me quickly start sharing. Okay, are we together? Can you see that, Pramka?
Not yet.
Okay, it's coming up. There we are. Come on, technology. Okay.
Meantime, while you're still doing that, Mr. Machaba, can I ask the fellow writers present
Yeah.
to also jump in, with some of the. I see we've got with our readers. Can we start with Abigail George, and then we move on to Baba Luan Noho? That's roughly the order, and then we go to Tabiso, because I saw his name. He's also in the reader. And then, I'll ask Manga, maybe Robert also to do another piece, and also, but I'll advise as soon as the three people have read, that is Abigail George, Tabiso, and Babalo. Can they begin the reading for us?
I've started sharing the screen. I'm sure it's visible to all of us. You were giving us some kind of an order, Bramko. Can you repeat that again?
I'm suggesting Abigail with her poem, and then Tabiso with his short story, and then followed by Babalo with her poems. And if we still have time, we will go through. I mean, unless the other writers come through.
Okay. Can we?
Yes.
I'm busy trying to mute those that are online. Okay. Abigail, I was going to ask Pramka, what is the one that is going to read a short story, that he or she doesn't have to read the full story, but an extract of that, so that we give time to everyone. Okay. Abigail, are you online? We are waiting for you to read your poem. Abigail is not responding. Okay, can we move, your mic is muted, Pramka.
I'm asking, can you slide up the reader, so that you can see who appears, and then the writer can sort of read, once the name appears, the reading appears.
That's poetry. Okay, and then that's short stories. And that's a writing. We've got a short story, we've got Saki Wanombe and Usin Swatami. But the poetry, I'm not saying Abigail. Okay.
Mr. Machaba?
Yes.
Can you sort of slide down the booklet, because just go down the. Okay. Don't worry, don't worry yourself. Just go down. Just run through this. Yeah.
Okay. We've got Alan Horowitz. You'll tell me where to stop.
Yes, you can stop there. We can begin with Babalwa Ngoko with Ilwimi Zethu.
Babala, are you online? Babala, can you unmute your mic? Babala Splendor Wena.
Sorry, can you see me now?
Yes, Abigail, yes.
Sorry,
Yes.
I'm ready to read my poem. Sorry, I just had technical difficulties.
Hello.
Abigail,
Yes, I'm here.
we have it in front of you.
Can you scroll to where it is, please? I think it's on page 15. I don't have it in front of me anymore on the phone.
Okay, let me try and check it. Office space.
Yes, got it.
Okay, shut up again.
Office space. In your house, I was on an obstacle course. You showed me how to live amidst warning signs. Pulsating, levitating, I was a shadow on the sun. You showed me how to live. I do not speak in whispers anymore. I do not house collections of any kind. I do not sway or cut corners like dynamite. Secrets are like glass. I've scrubbed the fingerprints off and put them well away from sight. I've put every shadow boxer in the last remaining light. Memory sees my mind and body anew. The first taste as slow as honey, losing chase, and no longer post-bloom, trapped in a box, no longer posed to death or to lobby. I'm finally through with you, kissing a fool. The child is gone. The sweetest goodbye is finally won.
Thanks, Abigail. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not seeing your reaction. A round of applause for Abigail. Do we have another one, Abigail?
Oh no, I don't. I didn't bring another poem with me. I just thought I'd read this published in Kotaz this evening.
Thanks a lot, Abigail. Keep on writing. You know, yeah, keep on writing. And I keep on sending them through, you know. Okay. Okay. Thanks once more, Abigail. Can we move on to Babalo, if she's ready? Babalo?
Hello.
Cylinder when Madam tell us cylinder when Babalo? Yes, sir. And I should not born a molo gunjan.
And there no one hello. I can clearly hear you, but I'm not sure if I'm the one who's having a problem.
Siyakuva Babalo, uyayibona imibongo yakho eskrinini ilwimi zethu. Ingafundela wona lo one?
Yes. Hello.
Mala kuwo ke mama. Sikumamele thina siyakuva. Usemoyeni.
And then ngiyavakala ngoku.
Usemoyeni babalo, uvole ilizwe lonke.
Ndicela ufunda wona, ndizawufunda wona. Okay. Oh, okay. Ithi iilwimi zethu. Okay. Okay. Ithi okwendlu yembovane, umuntu omnyama ukujongela ulwimi lwakhe ezantsi. Okomntwana
Phawukile. Ubabalo une network problem, connectivity yakhe I think imane qhawuka. Babalo ubuyile.
Okay, good macho.
Ndakamfecane, welcome. Are you ready? Umanga? Okay, Eman? Manga? Okay, Pramko.
Oui.
So bahleli idlala siyifunde imisebenzi yabo bekhona, yabona? Kodwa ke kuzawufuneka sizame elo cebo xa bamane beqhawuka. Ndingaqhawulisa lo kababalo mhlawumbi uyawuthi xa ebuya aphinde afunde omnye lowa. Nenetwork yam apha engandiphoxi. Iilwimi zethu ngokubhalwe ngubabalo Nqorho. Okwendlu yembovane, umntwana omnyama ukujongela iilwimi lwakhe ezantsi. Okomntwana ozamazinyo, ukulivuthela livuthuluke. Okwenkunkuma engafunwayo, ukulidudulela endleleni. Bantwana baseMzantsi Afrika, aniboni na okwelanga iilwimi zethu zitshona entshona? Xa siziyeka ziphuncuke phakathi kweminwe, sakuqhayisa ngantoni na ngomso? Ngathi uyalibala ulwimi walinikwa ngumdali wakho. Ngathi ngokuqala ubambelele kulwimi lwakho, wandula ungenanzulu kwiilwimi zezinye iintlanga. Italente esiyinikwe nguThixo siyiqhusheke phantsi komhlaba. Siyinyanzela enyonyweni, siyinyonyozela. Ingaba iza kuphakanyiswa ngubani? Ubabalo lowo, Babalo Nqorho, phalimela indaba yeelwimi zethu. Unawo omnye umbongo wesibini othi iziyobisi, zakhe ndikhabe ndisima ngawo mhlawumbi uyawuthi xa ebuyele akwazi uqhubeka asifundele wona. Ukhangela
Hello.
Hello. Are you online? Asincedise Bramxo, noMr Mfecane akafumaneki ngoku. Ndizama ukhangela abangenileyo.
I'll suggest we go over to Thabiso story.
Phinda ke. Ubusithi siya kubani?
Kothabiso Chowa, short story.
All right. Upon a line.
Yes, yes.
Rabubu, the local hound whisper. We along.
Yes.
Tabiso, Indamus Posago. Kaneze Bashan. Tabiso.
Unmute
Hello?
yourself. It's okay, sure.
Tabiso.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, can I start? Should I read the whole story or just an abstract?
An extract.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Okay,
Yes.
okay. I'll just read the third chapter. Is that fine?
Yes.
Okay. His fate changed when he impulsively dove in to rescue the helpless hound, or so we thought. You know what I've figured out about the world around us is that we may find ourselves suffering some of the world's worst atrocities, and we pray to God to change our situation. And for us, God actually presents. If we pray for kindness from the cruel world around us, God gives us the opportunity to extend very same kindness. If we don't run and read the world around precisely, we might just miss that opportunity. But if we read the situation correctly and trust our natural instincts, the most wonderful thing can happen. It's like magic, but only real. The real power of God working hand in hand with the triumph of the human spirit. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh, I can go further. Must I go on?
Yes, Tabi.
Go on. Go on. Read a bit more.
Okay. Rabubi, a scrawny, weak, lonely 13-year-old boy was presented with the opportunity to be courageous, and without thinking twice, he went for it and attempted to rescue the helpless mud. But things didn't pan out the way he would have hoped. Instead of simply rescuing the hound, fate took a different turn. He reached the dog and held it close to his chest, but then he started drowning with the sewer water pulling him to the bottom. So he tried to walk back to the What's that in the background?
Thanks, Tabiso. Thank you, Tabiso. Are you done? Okay. Colleagues, here and there, we are experiencing a lot of connectivity with some of the authors, and where they are, it's a bit slow to reach what is being said on the other end. But yeah, that was Tabiso Chowa with his piece, The Local Hound Whisper. I'm not seeing any reaction. I'm not sure if people have heard you. But we will proceed. Let me double check. Babalo, are you back online? Babalo? Yes, sir. Pranto?
Yes, Mr. Macho.
asimfumana ubabalwa andaba ndiselinde nosonwabile okoko bendimzama andikaphinde ndimfumane. Ukhona esimshiyayo esingambalanga?
Now, what I can do, I can read Alan's poems. Maybe a few other writers can join me in that.
Yes. Okay.
And then we'll go over, and see what we can read next, so that because the whole idea. Because I'm saying that the whole idea is to present works that has been published over the years, and then just to present it so that people can sort of begin to have an idea of the type of writing, that has been produced and been published, the past few years. So I'll read the authors, and then I'll invite someone else maybe to go on and do another poem, and then hopefully maybe if we do enough, but we've got to check the time as well. Maybe we can have a few questions, people who sort of want to get maybe from the writers themselves, like where they are now with their writing, like what other achievements, came through, over time, I mean, in all that, I mean, whatever people want to ask, maybe we can have maybe 10 minutes of that, I don't know if it's okay with you. I'll read the authors, and then someone else maybe can do another poem.
Okay.
Thanks. It's Alan Howitt. The poem was published in 1999 in Kotaz. One of the first few issues, I think it was the second one, volume 1, number 2, in which these poems appear. The authors. Day by day, chattering, behind, opening to the deep ocean, the sky, embers of night's fire, mysterious cleansing reconstruction. Waves spray forest green, dappling light and birdsong throbs in the clapping hum of ocean threading boots. Long stretch draw in. Can you move it up for me, Mr. Machoba, please?
Yes.
Waves spray forest green, dappling light and birdsong throbs in the clapping hum of ocean, threading boots, long stretch draw in, sun spreads, the glittering is limitless. Later tides pull and the drawing away of the waters makes us rise to stand at the door of the hut under diamond brooches and compare soft bones with the brutal, elusive fact of our foundering. Yes, the otters are never seen. We try to sense their weavings along the black waters of streams, up in pools which humans cannot easily reach. Each day, peeling away, look, in the water, a whale. Unsteadiness of the past merging with the turnings of centipedes, silvery trails threading a leaf, the dusting of twigs shifting the present. We step, squeezing mud from bank to bank, headlands, highlands, stony beaches where driftwood, shedding salt glows all smooth. We strain, unpacking the flow of air and foul, stagnant or free, each day bringing closer the need to embrace. Nights are time for meat stick, drips blood. We take it to our mouths, all the same, no otters are seen. Occasionally rangers track them. We can only hope they survive pollution of the rivers. Day still glows by the Tsisikama. Then we can invite someone else to do another poem from Alan, and then we see, I mean, depending on time, maybe we can do one or two other people, one Xhosa or two Xhosa poems, and then we see how time goes. And then we have a short sort of a question, a discussion session. Manga, can you read White in the Embers?
Manga, are you online?
Okay, I'm here. Okay, White in the Embers. The moon is full circled, shanked to a harness of stars. I cover you luxuriate on the sheet under the blades of a fan. We have shivered, ridden into our frenzy. You smile now, half-hooded, milk on your thighs. Okay.
Thanks, Manga. Okay, before we deal with the third one, let me take double check again. Babalwa and Yabono Boyele Umanu Kauka. Okay. Sonabil and Yabon Kaugil and I. Okay. And Yabono from Sebako and Amasbulis and Agobo. Any take on the third one? And I do understand Rob is also online, Rob. Would you like to read one? Love comes to send a tongue. Or any take?
Okay, it's in the valley, Nalena Put.
Okay, Mark.
The loves come to Shanty and Bonipan Fitterland. In high shoes, scent like a blessing, honey and petals, she comes to the shacks by the side of the highway. Broken women with scars and sour stand by their doors. She offers them 3 meals, a room in the yard. They leave their children. Hoovers where bones clog the doors. Drive out with madam, having sold their breasts, their milk with its ivory teeth, hitching up tattered skirts to scrub.
Thanks, Manga.
Okay,
Thanks, Manga. That was lovely. America from I do understand about Ufnase Kobege Apa, but I was talking to Zwana again, who was telling nje ukhobise pakaMatyhobeni ngoba incwadi yakhe sizomka apha sinomqondo othile ngayo ukuba sizokwazi uyithenga. Ba ixesha lisekhona sawubuyela apha kwakhona. Ndanobuya ndilandela na.
Ndimamele Mr. Macho. Incwadi kaLanto kaMatyhobeni usimthembile. Andazi mhlawumbi akwazi uyisharisha iscreen side. Ipublishwe yashicilelwa ngonyaka ka-2019.
Andinayonga apha kum.
Ithetha ngolu hlobo komnye umbongo, kweyethu imizi izithunzi ziyawelana, sonke sixutywe nenyanga sesibane, kanti yona inyama etafileni iyaphola, sifunqula izikete zamazwi ngesixhiba sobuhle kugawulwa ziinkonjane phezu komfula. Isitronkathelo malunga amagqabantshintshi njengencwadi kuba uNosigidi ungantoni ithetha ngolu hlobo. uNosigidi nomyeni wakhe uSibawu bayatshutshiswa betyholwa ngokweba imfuyo. Uyabulawa uSibawu, utshiswe nomzi wabo, abhace uNosigidi nabantwana bakhe. Kulapho uNosigidi atsho axhathise ngengoma esezela nembali yesizwe sakowabo ejonge ekubeni angazidibanisa njani na neli lizwe limsithelayo, enyamezela nezinyeliso asahlalelwa ngazo emzini wakhe. Uzibamba ngononophelo izilingo zothando, ekhusela nozibulo wakhe. Ubekwa amabala de abe ubizwa lithongo. Nantsi indlela ke ithongo umbhali abonakalisa uba liza njani na kuNosigidi. Lamnweba ixhego lalatha esiswini kusika inimba zithelela nangamanqindi intsana zaphuma zingumngcelele enkabeni wahlaba omzi yasesikhatyanga lungcume wathi vunozala wesigidi wandikhomba bandithi chu bendibiza usigidi bewisa izadyenge zeenyembezi kumhlaba wemikholonjane. Le ncwadi
Andazi but ufuna nosigidi lo mntu.
hayi ndiyama apho ibekukuvela nje uba mhlawumbi kulo mbongombaliso ubhala ugxininisa ndingathini i-rhythm ukubetha kwelizwi nohlobo azoba imvakalelo ezithe zavelela uNosigidi kwimbandezelo athe wadibana nayo ekubeni umzi wakhe uye waphela waphantsi utshiswa. Eli libali likaNosigidi nemingeni athe wayifumana njengomntu obhinqileyo waseAfrika ekubeni ethe washiywa ngumyeni wakhe kwafuneka akhulise abantwana bakhe yedwa. Kanti ke zikhona nemiba emayelana nenkcubeko ngakumbi uhlobo abantu ababhinqileyo abathi bacinezelwe ngalo phantsi kwenkcubeko yesintu. Umbongombaliso kawunomdla ngamandla athe wabhala uthi uNosigidi. Bekuyaba kuhle uba bekhona umbhali ukuze ke awucazulula awufunde ngokwakhe umbongo lona, kodwa ke sakonela yileyo ndithe ndayizisa kuni okwanamhlanje. Enkosi Bamacho.
Enkosi Butch. I want to open the floor for comments, queries, more to the likes of Abigail, to the likes of Utabiso, and their pieces and their writings and so forth. If there are any questions, I'm not seeing anything on the chat. So I'll open it. I'll open the floor. Abigail, are you still online?
I'm still here. I'd like to know what inspired Tabiso's piece.
Yes, Tabiso, are you listening? Tabiso?
If he's not there, I'd like to ask CES a question about.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Tabiso is on the line. Yes, Tabiso?
The story is actually based on an experience that I had growing up. I almost died in a sewer, not too far from my house. I live in Bethel. I almost died in a sewer. I almost drowned. So a dog actually helped me. So I thought I would make a tribute to that dog and write a story and reverse it. Because I felt like we're moving in real life. And my battery is about to die. Oh my God.
Okay. Did you get that, Abigail?
Yes, I did.
So
That must have been terrifying and devastating experience.
Oh, it was.
You had the second question, okay, Abigail, from Kotaz.
It's about how does he make his editorial decisions when it comes to choosing works that go into Kotaz? Does he go with his instinct, or does he go with his heart, or does he go with his head?
Well, it's a combination. Thanks, Abigail. It's a combination of all those things that you've mentioned, And in fact, it's a long story. These things, it's a long. I mean, for me, the whole thing of working with people and reading works, and I mean, like sort of bringing myself, to people's, interpretations, of their worlds and through stories, and poems. It also has got to do with a search, for who I am, and what I'm about also in the world. What's in the world for me? So it tends to be a kind of a dual process, it comes from two sides, It's what the writer offers, which comes as a gift, whether it's a poem or a short story, a gift to the world, that is one side. But the other side, it's myself, coming closer to what the writer has done,
Mm-hmm.
So it's never sort of like a one-way thing whereby I sit down and decide. It's two things, two processes of coming together. So it takes a long time, because it's also a search for who I am. It's taken me a long time to understand some of the things that I've been trying to do over 20 years. I mean, I'm still finding answers, to things that to where I was, and what I was doing, 30 years ago, and it's such a powerful revelation, these things, and I mean, for me, it's that. I don't want to waste a lot of time, but it's that. Thanks.
Okay. Any other question, comment? You can also type on the chat box.
Why isn't there more female representation, especially of color?
Interesting one, Ramko.
For everyone. This question is for everyone.
So it's open to the floor. Why female? Why so many female, especially females of color? And why are you asking that question, if I may ask, Abigail?
No, because it's kind of lonely in here tonight. I feel like there's not much representation of females.
Yeah.
It's a very important question, but it's something that should trouble us, all of us, It really, it should trouble. It's a huge concern, Abigail, that we at least have Baba Alva with us, and she has read her poems. It's brilliant, it's wonderful. But really, we would love to have more, the voices. I think it's one of the things, that I sort of try to raise. I mean, if you look up earlier in the second, second volume of Kotaz, which we have here in this reader, I mean, I was battling to understand that, like in trying to find answers to that, in 99, because we really need women's voices, It's unfortunate that it's taken us so much time, so much time, the struggle has been so long, to try and reawaken, spirits that have been deadened by the years. It's such a painful period, and no one should judge, We should not make, easy judgments about these things. We should really try to work on it. Maybe it's gonna take us, another 20 years, another 50 years, maybe it won't be achieved in our lifetimes, but we can only try, to have more voices represented, in the cultural landscape of our country.
Yeah, thanks, Pramka. And if I may ask Abigail, is this your first piece, or do we have other pieces published somewhere or unpublished?
I do have quite several pieces published after quite some time. It's been around about 20 odd years now that I've been writing in succession. I've got a few books out as well. My most recent book is a poetry collection that's available on African Books Collective. It's of Flesh and Smoke and Bone. And that was published by a Zimbabwean publishing company. under Tendai Rainas Munwaka.
Okay. I think you should also get in touch with Colin Higgin. With Colin, who was, the Mojave books, and she's been dedicating herself in publishing women writers. If you go to, to her website, you will see quite a lot of women writers with, with lots of books that have been published, and you would want to see your name among those. Okay, thanks.
Can I ask one question to put them?
We are 6 minutes away. Tabiso?
Yeah, I want to ask about Alan Horowitz, right?
Yeah.
The poet. Is he the same guy from Potsotso.org?
Yes, he's the same. He's the same guy. He's the same person.
What a small world! He actually published my first story called Black Boy Fly. It was also based on a real experience. And now I get to read his work here. What a small world. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Yeah,
Abigail, you are the bomb.
No, Amaka, Tabiso, thanks. We are about to, we're left with 5 minutes. And we're about to wrap up. Any other question, any other comment? Or we go on and read one or two more and then we wrap it up.
Songezile.
Yes.
Yeah. Mzi. Yeah, one question that I would like to ask, maybe after this question, there'll be more questions, I'm not sure. First of all, I must apologize again because I'm late, so I was trying to adapt myself to what is happening. Now, I would like to pose this question to any writer. Presently, what is the most important thing to the writer? Is it being published or is it to write? What is more important to what stimulates to write? Is it because you want to be published or you want to be a writer?
Any take, people?
Abigail, yes, hi.
Can you unmute your mic?
Sorry. For me, it's always been to write. That's been the emphasis, that's been the instinct, that's been the prime. For me, is just to write and to get everything out on paper into the world. That for me, that's the first instinct for me. It's just to write. And whatever comes after that, the response from an audience or a readership or a book or being published in any form or medium or shape, or in a book or a print magazine or online, that's the after. But the before for me is always the written word and getting the work done on paper, and that's yeah, for me that's the passage.
Yeah, I would like to agree with you, Abigail, because with me, I was so afraid, of being called a writer. I always hid my work because I was afraid of being called a writer because I wanted to be a writer. I never was associating myself with being published. I didn't want to be published. I was only writing, because I'm that kind of person who is very shy, And then I would hide my work because I didn't want people to know that I'm a writer. But there was a time when I was called. I was said to be selfish because I was writing for myself instead of writing for the people. But then I discovered that the most important thing for me is to know the ropes, the corners of the ring, is to know about writing. And then publishing came later on after I had been motivated, to have my work, read by the public, I would always hide, and really refuse to be known as a writer, because in my own feelings, I wasn't a writer. I wanted to be a writer. So I worked very hard to accomplish to be a writer. But now I can boldly say that it helped me, to be where I am, because working hard to be a writer will help you to know the ropes, and everything comes after we have established or we found a foundation to be a writer. Then publishing will follow. And then now I'm not afraid anymore, because I think I deserve that title of being called a writer. Otherwise, without the knowledge of writing, I couldn't even think of being published. I was so afraid of having my work seen by the public. So, but I wasn't sure about other writers, whether the most important thing for them was to be published before they knew the rules of their game.
Thanks a lot, Bramze. We are running out of time. It's almost 7 o'clock and we need to wrap up. I say that Abigail has a lot, and she also wants us to deal with the cultural landscape, and more importantly, we need to deal with the literary landscape. That one is for another day. I don't want us to be shut out of the system. Bramka, your closing remarks? Unmute your mic.
Well, it's to thank you for this glorious evening, celebrating the word, and to say we are all learning, and we are learning slowly, but there are reasons for these things, I think sooner or later, our literature, will flourish, but it's through the interactions like these with writers, fellow writers, working together as equals, that we can have any hope of forging, the true, the most true nature of what South African literature should be about, So it's to thank sessions like these and to encourage, writers to come out, and to speak, because it's only through speaking, that you affirm, your bearings and your presence, and your voice, in the world. It's through speaking that you forge your language, So it's to say thanks to the writers for coming out and listening to us, and we are thankful for listening to what the writers had to say. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, people, I can't really thank you. You wish to go on and on thanking everyone. But thanks, to everyone that attended this session. Thanks to the writers that have the courage to take a pen and a paper and write. And thanks to those that have the courage to read. Standing up and reading your work is very, very intimidating. But yeah, thanks for all the courage. And lastly, thanks to the National Arts Festival and Amazwi for hosting us tonight. And with that, I also wish to emphasize that more book launches are happening almost every day at this time, 1800, 6 p.m. Do visit the National Arts Festival website and we'll see all the details. And tomorrow we are having the new coin, if I'm not mistaken. Please do join us again tomorrow for another lovely session of poetry and readings. And yeah, we'll go on until the end of the festival on the 18th. We hope to see you then. Enjoy the evening, enjoy the rest of the evening till we meet again. And please do support literature, do support writers, buy books as part of your presence. Make sure that when you go to the shop, you also put some money and ensure that you support books. We've heard of the likes of Jakarta, you know, and a number of publishers have closed down, and we don't want to see words disappearing in their midst, whereas we are still living. With those words, ladies and gentlemen, let me thank all of you once again, with the hope that we will join us again tomorrow at the same time, 1800, when we launch the latest issue of the new coin. Thanks everyone. Good night. Bye bye. Siyabulela bethuna. Enkosi.
Tangan.
Thanks.
Tangan.
Good night, everyone.
Okay.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, Kay. Bye, Kay. Bye. So, Gezi.
Kusuka kude zizi.
Eswakude Tangan, man. Festivala.
Nizama strong from Zen.
Yeah, go right.
And Nizama strong.
Thank you. Coswood. So, Gezi. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.